since inception of the business in 1988. We've been based out of Eastern Canada. And so we're currently built, engineered, and designed in Montreal, out of Quebec, Canada. Verdi Montreal color, only for our 30th anniversary limited edition. This one is 1 out of 10, but the whole 10 production will be identical.
Right.
And so it's an homage to the unit we built 30 years ago, our first production vehicle that went to the auto shows in Toronto and Montreal, had the same color spec. And for this one, we have Italian leather seats with a different stitching pattern. We have matte carbon fiber instead of the standard either gloss carbon fiber or colored parts. Limited edition plaque, and some special details like the wheel collars and the brake calipers that are yellow and other minute details, but yeah, exciting. Well, it's two-pronged, right? So it's the one we initially showed in 30 years ago was similar color, it was a green with yellow speck, but also it's a Verdi Montreal color, so we just like that color a lot, and it has like a racing heritage to it, so it's closer to sort of a British racing green color, and so it's, for instance, we're design engineer on the racetrack. It was a good, it was just to go with our roots of racing and track experience. Correct, and so in Eastern Ontario and in Quebec this year, there's about 10 events that you can join with your T-Rex, and so we don't do wheel-to-wheel racing. It's mostly time attack, but there will be. They're not confirmed yet, so it's yet to be confirmed. But we should have two wheel-to-wheel racing, two wheel-to-wheel races this summer as well. And so vehicles will need to go through some modifications to attend this race wheel-to-wheel action because they'll need to add sidebars just for safety. But there are minute changes that you need to do to your T-Rex to be able to compete in the race-to-race series. And we'll seek to grow that as well. Because as of now, it's only Eastern Ontario, so Shannonville and Calabugie, but to also attend maybe most sport on our tracks in Ontario. So there's a kit available. It's not street legal. We are not the manufacturer of it, but so there's two classes, right, for the track and time series. So we have the 3-wheel standard T-Rex that is street legal. People, they drive to the track and they drive on track. Some customers will add the racing slicks because it adds a lot of performance. With slicks, you'll pull up to 2G lateral acceleration, and with standard tires, 1.3G. But some customers that have raced the series with 3 wheels at some point, they add the slicks and they want something that is even faster, then they go to a 4-wheel kit, and they're called the T4X. We don't manufacture it, we don't endorse it necessarily because it's not street legal, but it's a well-built kit, and it makes for a fun and interesting series as well. And as far as going on the racetrack with a T-Rex, usually what owners will do is they'll put track pads on the vehicle from Wilwood, and the only other modification that owners might do is racing slicks once they've reached the limit of the tires, and they're really good potent tires. They're autocross tires. They're 200 thread wear Hankook RS4s, so they stick. But once you're to the limit of the vehicle with the street tires, you move to slicks and you gain a lot of performance. They're already on fully adjustable coilovers, so you don't need to modify anything suspension-wise. And braking, they're braided steel lines, Wilwood brakes, so you don't need to modify anything else but the pads. And you can go for full attack mode for lapping sessions of 15, 30 minutes or even an hour, and nothing will overheat. Everything was engineered to make sure they can push as hard as you can physically the machine, but cooling is really efficient, so no issues with engine temperatures or even the brake temperature. Everything is really solid. It's meant to be pushed on for endurance racing. It's because you don't need a G license, so it's we're homologated as Autocycles in Canada, so it's a motorcycle plate, but it's licensed as a car, and so insurance is a car insurance. There's a sweet, I'd say, loophole in this, meaning that some banks, they consider it a leisure product, and so you can finance them over 15 years. And so you have some sort of the perks of the motorcycle industry, but you don't have the heavy insurance fees or the more expensive plates. If you've never driven one, you're sitting about 4 or 5 inches from the ground. It's open wheel, open air, and so the driving feeling is visceral. It compares really to nothing else other than maybe a Formula Ford or other type of Formula car, but nothing else that is street legal, because you're 1,100 pounds, so we're actually 200 pounds lighter than the radical race cars. We have a better part of weight ratio than a radical race car. So it's really aggressive, sequential 6-speed. So it's a driving experience like nothing else. Really driving it, people are like smiles to their ears, but also they can't understand how it is street legal because it really feels like a race car for the racetrack, but it's actually street legal. We do encourage customers to bring them to the racetrack. They're meant to have the racing harnesses from the factory installed, and then if they drive them on the street, then drive them carefully and respect the road conditions and the limits and whatnot. But if you want to have fun, bring it on the racetrack. It's a track weapon.